And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another broadcast, to another ESL Masters Summer 2023 broadcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Of course, this was an event that was hosted live a couple of weeks ago. We ourselves were a part of that live broadcast as well. Feels good, man. But a lot of games were held, a lot of games were played, and very few of them were actually broadcasted to the public. So we are here with the replay cast. We're here with the open bracket, with the open stage Group B, as last week we actually covered all of Group A. Now we are covering Group B as well. Our goal here, to cast everything. To cast everything we can get our hands on, so that everything can be, of course, publicized and all be out there to the public, and yeah, hopefully find some hidden gems in the rough as well. Last week we had a lot of fun casting sort of and StarCraft, if you recall. Some very old school players, and it was great to see them again after 7+ years of not competing, especially for StarCraft. Less so with sort of was like a year or just over a year with not competing. So yeah, it was really cool to see them all. And now we're here in Group B instead. A group full of Protosses, filled to the brim with Protosses, papi. Fun fact, in the entirety of the open bracket, which I think is like over 20 players, how many players in total were in the 32 players? There we go, 32 players. Out of 32 players, amongst 4 groups, there was only one Terran. There was only a single Terran. I remember casting this live with Asher, and Asher was like, "Smosh, papi, there's only one Terran." I'm like, mate, he's gonna qualify. 100% of the Terrans are gonna make it through, papi. He's like, true. Oh my god, that one Terran is Hero Marine, Big Gabe himself, and we will be casting him later on in the evening. He is a part of Group B, of course, as well as many other players. We have NightMare, we have ShaDoWn, we have Rail, we have Aristory, we have Argfire and DNS, so quite a lot of players, as you can imagine. We did cast this group live, but if you remember, we were mainly focusing on Group A, and then when we finished Group A, we caught the tail end of Group B, and we caught the lower bracket matches. I think like 2 or 3 matches. We were able to see the qualifying matches, pure PvPs essentially. So we were able to cover at least those matches already, but we were not able to cover the upper bracket matches or even the upper bracket qualifying match as well. So that is our goal here today, and we're going to be starting things off here with a PvP with NightMare versus ShaDoWn. Oh, let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Of course, NightMare, one of the big names. He was a favorite coming into these groups amongst many others, players like Hero, players like Ragnarok, Hero Marine as well. Plenty of big names, and that's why this bracket or this group stage was so brutal, because so many big names didn't make it into the main event. It was crazy. Hero didn't make it. Famously, Hero, he got knocked out in the group stage by Creator. It was brutal. It was so sad. I remember casting it live, Creator versus Hero, and it was so heartbreaking. Like, I'm a Creator fan, don't get me wrong, but I'm also a Hero fan, and it was so sad seeing one of them lose before they could even be covered by the mainstream, you know. And it's crazy to think about. Crazy to think about how good these players are, and they had to knock each other out. In a PvP, no less. But of course, that's going to be a tale for another day, as Hero was part of a later group, of course. And we are going to be covering some Hero games in the coming weeks, as of course we're going to be looking to cover a group a week, basically. Last week was A, this week is B, next week will be C, the week after will be D. Oh, let's go. We're working up towards the D, papi. Beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, I'm pretty excited to cover a lot of the Protosses here, just because we have been seeing a lot of them recently, and they've all been improving. Specifically, the Platinum Heroes Protosses. I'm speaking about ShaDoWn and DNS. They've both been featured very prominently in World Team League. They have been a part of the main roster of Platinum Heroes in WTL. And Platinum Heroes, they've been struggling in WTL, but ShaDoWn, DNS, Goblin as well, they've all been putting in a lot of work, and they've been getting some pretty impressive results in WTL, every now and then taking a map or even a 2-0 over some of these more favorite players, or even if they lose, they look good doing so. I think DNS has been the most impressive one from the bunch, and I'm really looking forward to casting him. Yeah, definitely something that I will be keeping my eye on as we get into this wonderful day of StarCraft. Oh, let's go, Bobby. Let's go. speaking of, our first of many PvPs. Oh boy. We just for some context, we do have 6 matchups available here today, so we're going to be covering the first 3, then we're going to be going on a bit of a break, and then we'll do the remaining 3 after that. Starting things off with the first of many PvPs. Let's go. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. Unfortunately, there is no waifu here on EU. Feels bad, man. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Protoss player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is ShaDoWn. Now, this is a conversation that I've always had to... I always need to bring this up whenever I cast with Asher, but I never do. Oh, I did have a bit of a pause. How do you pronounce ShaDoWn? Because I pronounce it like shadow with an N at the end, like so ShaDoWn. But there's also ShaDoWn. I think that's how Asher pronounced it. Sorry, I pronounce it like down as its separate word. So I do ShaDoWn because D is capitalized, but he says ShaDoWn. Like, yeah, I don't. And I think I've heard both from other casters as well. So, yeah, it's something that we haven't come to a consensus on, and I don't know if we should. Maybe it's fun, like casting a player and having both casters just say their name differently. It happens with Yanji as well. Well, I think I've just settled on calling him Yan because I think it's Yanshi. I think. Yeah, I don't know. But for the time being, we do have some double gate openers here in game number 1. Nothing too crazy. 2 gate opener from NightMare, 2 gate opener from ShaDoWn, as to be expected here. I mean, we are on Royal Blood, of course, and you'd have to be crazy. You'd have to be max packs to go for something like a gate expand on a map like this. Typically, that is reserved for hyper greedy players. Even StarCraft did it last week, if you recall. StarCraft a little bit out of the meta and was playing like a madman, but that was also why it was a little fun to watch. It was a little fun to tune into his PvPs. For the time being, both players are just going to be scouting each other across the map, just getting an eye on what the initial 2 units are going to be, and that will dictate how they will react as well back at home. We do of course have a double Stalker opener here from NightMare, a Stalker Sentry opener from ShaDoWn. So with this, he's going to be a little bit less active on the map, more reliant on scouting. His opponent is looking to be a lot more assertive here on Royal Blood, as he does move out with his first 2 Stalkers. Oh, I love this. He does hide. He splits off his Stalkers and he does hide the second one. The first is revealed to this probe and we'll shut it down. The second is kept hidden. So ShaDoWn doesn't know if it's a double Stalker opener or a Stalker Sentry opener. Oh my god. As soon as the probe goes down, we have a 1 base all in, a 3rd gateway, and a robo. NightMare does not intend to expand. He's going to be just committing, and there we go. We even have a proxy pylon across the map. I'm going to have to remove that KSL logo. But yeah, we're just turning things up here for NightMare. We do have a hallucination scout moving out across the map. It is going to get caught out by 2 of these Stalkers, and it goes down before seeing anything else. ShaDoWn is in the dark. He doesn't know what's going on. Is throwing down a defensive robo, which is definitely a good call. He does have another sentry on the way, but because of these hallucinations, he has very limited scouting information. He did see the pylon. That's already a tell, and he's setting up defensively. We have a couple of shield batteries on the way, but he doesn't know how committed this is going to be. The first wave of Stalkers have arrived, and we're going to be forcing a cancel on that first shield battery. The other Stalker taking a lot of shield damage already, and we do see NightMare just bullying ShaDoWn out of his own natural. Up. Ooh, we're going to be trading a Stalker for a Stalker. The force fields leave much to be desired. They were okay, but not good enough. Not good enough to trap the Stalkers of NightMare. He barely will keep them alive. One of them, oh my god, on 1 HP. And as he backs off, we have our reinforcements again. NightMare's looking to snowball. He does have a Warp Prism coming from across the map. Is going to be able to warp in the face of his opponent. As we once again trade a Stalker for a Stalker. Force field once again not quite trapping the Stalkers either. ShaDoWn slipping up a little bit here and there. And here comes that second wave. ShaDoWn trying desperately to muster a defense. He does have an Immortal on the way, and the Immortal will change things, but it looks like we may just have a little bit too much here. This is snowballing out of control. Another Stalker goes down. Shield battery will not finish. one immortal on its own isn't going to be enough, I don't think. We'll see how good the force fields are. Oh, we can blink. We can juggle. We have the prism. The stalkers refuse to die as we stutter step forward, and ShaDoWn is going to be losing everything. GG gets called. NightMare takes game number 1. Oh. Oh. In a pretty aggressive fashion. that was pretty intense, Papi, not gonna lie. Again, this is the nature of PvP, as I quickly do remove that KSL logo. Un momento. I thought I removed it already. My bad. That is from yesterday's broadcast. Ooh. But yeah, we do see PvP can be brutal like that. Of course, with the lack of scouting information, ShaDoWn wasn't able to prepare in time. He was trying to figure out what was going on. He saw a pylon, which was a bit of a tell. But again, his hallucinations were denied. His probe was killed, of course. And yeah, we saw... we saw NightMare just doing... just handling that beautifully. Just dealing with that really... awkward situation. Or just taking advantage of the fact that of course ShaDoWn couldn't really scout. He couldn't really figure out what was going on in time. As I am just looking for... Oh, I don't think I have it. I'm just looking for a logos mod. Is this it? Maybe? we're gonna find out on the fly, Papi. We're gonna find out. I'm just trying to look for the ESL logos mod. Beautiful. As we're gonna be diving into game number 2. Ooh, taking place on altitude. Let's go. Let us go. I think that's how you say it. Should have told me. I'd ask. Oh. As here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of altitude. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Arbidos, leading the series 1-0. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Protoss player representing the Platinum Heroes. It is ShaDoWn. Oh, and interesting. Okay, so first things first. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. we got it, Papi. We got it. We have the logos mod set up. Oh, beautiful. But first things first, ShaDoWn is going for a 2-gate opener. This is very odd, and this is very aggressive from ShaDoWn. So last game, we saw both players go for 2-gate openers, which makes plenty of sense. But on a map like Altitude, where you have a ramp coming into the natural, it is very common, it is very meta, very standard to go for a gate expand instead. So ShaDoWn is going for an economic opener, NightMare going for something far more aggressive. And with this probe scout, NightMare is going to confirm that. So the pressure is going to be on ShaDoWn to get some kind of damage done, to try to in some way make up for the fact that he's going to have an economic disadvantage compared to NightMare. Of course, ShaDoWn will also have a production advantage as he has a second gateway already. Working towards that cyber core across the map, NightMare is looking to throw down that Nexus. ShaDoWn being as annoying as possible, looking to delay it as best he can. Even force out a Zealot if possible with a pylon. With a pylon block. Oh. And we'll see how NightMare will respond. So, a couple of things. Because NightMare knows it's a 2-gate opener, he could intentionally not get his Nexus and throw down an additional gateway or throw down some kind of tech just to prepare and just to respect his opponent's opener, to recognize that it'd be dangerous to go for an expansion. But we'll see as, yeah, the pylon block is upon us. We do have an Adept on the way. Zealot is going to be cleaning this up. And NightMare has taken a second gas, but we haven't thrown down a Stargate yet. Or a Robo. Meanwhile, Stalkers are on the way from ShaDoWn. We're going to go across the map as quickly as possible. And there's that Nexus. So NightMare is going to be going for a gate expand in the end, and it's going to be on ShaDoWn to try and to try and do some equalizing damage. He does go for a Stargate, so with this he's going to have access to oracles, and he can of course do some economic damage that way. He's also going to have an advantage in the stalker count. This adept is going to be keeping these stalkers busy though, is going to be keeping them at home. As NightMare gets eyes on the lack of natural, or the lack of nexus here at the natural base. So he knows that tech was thrown down, he knows that his opponent is staying on one base a little bit longer, and it has to be for a reason, and we have a shield battery on the way at the natural base. The main is looking a little bit more exposed. As I say that, there's that shield battery, so NightMare is going to be ready for that first oracle. Those wondering, the oracle cannot out DPS a shield battery, or it takes a long time to out DPS the shield battery. At least an oracle on its own. 2 oracles can one-shot probes, and shield batteries can't really do too much to help there. ShaDoWn goes for a later expansion. And NightMare is going to be able to confirm that with these sentries. We have this the hallucination zooming across the map, does get eyes on the first oracle, gets eyes on the second one that's in production. The Twilight Council, the Stargate, everything there is to see. You love to see it. NightMare knows. Meanwhile, massive shout out to Ranger in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you have a good time. Or hope you had a good time. And yeah, welcome to the stream. We're here conducting a replay cast for ESL Masters, the open bracket, the open stage, and we're still in our first series. NightMare, of course, pulling off a pretty brutal one base all in game 1. Here in game 2, looking to be a little bit active as well. The first oracle does get deflected, but now the second does meet up with the first. We're going to be looking to threaten that mineral line here at the natural base. NightMare, though, is in position. Has a couple of stalkers ready for this. And ShaDoWn's going to be careful. As he dives on forward, he's going to be able to pick off only 2 of those probes. Takes a little bit of hull damage, but at least he does keep these oracles alive. At the same time, Prism is zooming across the map with some adepts, looking to bypass this wall, looking to slip into the bases of ShaDoWn. We'll see if he can keep up. As we have stalkers in position, no blink yet, so we're not going to be able to punish this Prism. The Prism should not go down. Meanwhile, the oracles, they do rotate over into the main base, and they get a couple more worker kills. 3 more probes go down. I believe 5 in total, 6 in total. Meanwhile, the adepts do slip into the main base. We force a recall as well. And NightMare does some equalizing damage. He wants more. Up. Up. And it looks like the Prism is barely going to be able to escape for the cost of an adept. So it could have been a lot worse here for ShaDoWn. At least he does defend in the end. And he's going to be able to maintain a bit of a worker lead here as well. Blink on the horizon, far faster than his opponent. I imagine NightMare is going to be commencing Immortal production soon, just to make up for that. We'll see. We'll see as ShaDoWn is the first to take his 3rd base as well. And there are those Immortals. So again, ShaDoWn, he knows that his opponent is going to have Blink far ahead of him, so to make up for his lack of blink stalkers, he's going to be incorporating some of these immortals. They will keep him safe and sound. He throws down 2 more gateways behind his natural as well. Looks like NightMare is not looking to take his 3rd base. Instead of taking that 3rd, we got more production. We're going to have a larger army, bigger, larger, all that good stuff. 3rd base is thrown down, but I still do worry here for ShaDoWn. He's down overall in the production, going to be down in immortals. Depending on how many immortals we do crank out, like, this is going to hit quite hard. Here we go, as the 2nd immortal is on the way. Oracles don't quite make it into the main base or into the natural. But it looks like we may have a bit of a longer game. A Forge is thrown down. So with that Forge, it's going to take a while to really get into +1, and yeah, NightMare may be just looking to chill out back at home, just wait for his upgrades to kick in, wait for that immortal count to spike up before eventually moving out. as ShaDoWn is a little bit paranoid and is just going to continue to keep tabs on this army. Again, if NightMare ever were to move out ShaDoWn, he'd be aware of it. He'd be ready for it. He's going to be setting up his 4th base, his 3rd already fully saturated. ShaDoWn taking a pretty big economic lead here just because of his much faster 3rd. That's also why I assumed that NightMare was going to just be going for a 2-base all-in. But NightMare has been producing workers as well. Is saturating his 3rd base, and he's going for a Dark Shrine. So here we go. ShaDoWn is going to be picking up a couple of these workers. Hot pickups there from NightMare, not losing too many of his overall army units. Just a couple of probes. Dark Shrine is on the way. Do we have detection? We have the oracles for Revelation, but ShaDoWn doesn't have a robo. Hopefully he gets one soon. ShaDoWn is just getting further and further ahead economically. 6th base on the way. Again, because of the oracles, he will have at least detection with his main army. Depending on where the oracles are, though, like, these DTs could be devastating. There we go. Robo is on the way. ShaDoWn will have access to detection, to observers. Feels good, man. As the DTs, or sorry, the Dark Shrine is about to finish up. Prism, still staying at home, actually, so NightMare is not gonna... There is like a little bit of a window here before the Robo finishes where those DTs could do some damage, but NightMare, he decides to warp in back at home instead, and he's actually going to be moving out with his main army. Oh boy. ShaDoWn likewise also going for a Dark Shrine. Ooh, and immediately the Prism does get sniped. Very nice pick off from ShaDoWn. With that, no more reinforcements. NightMare is being forced back at the same time. The DTs do bypass the army. And it looks like they have been spotted, but damage is still being done at the same time. A massive Zealot Rama here at the 4th base of NightMare. He's going to be able to respond. He's going to be able to defend. Meanwhile, there are DTs in every single mineral line. The main, the natural, and the 3rd. The Dark Shrine of ShaDoWn has been scouted. NightMare knows. And this is getting a lot of damage done. ShaDoWn had a massive worker lead earlier, but now he's down at 15 probes. 16 even. 17. Oh, there's another one here. Oh my god. 19 workers go down in total. ShaDoWn out of position. NightMare, he dives on into the 4th base. I don't think he can quite fight this, though. He's got to be careful. There we go. Force fields are thrown down. ShaDoWn, he doesn't care. He blinks on top of the army. Focuses down one of those immortals. The others are getting a lot of damage done, though, and so many Zealots are stuck behind those Stalkers. At the same time, another DT counterattack hitting the 3rd base. 40 probes go down. And even if ShaDoWn wins this fight, it looks like he's going to be able to clean up the main army. He's losing everything else. The DT, the Invisible Man. It's too much, Buffy. It's too much. Oof. 47 probes. They're still alive, by the way. They're still doing even more damage, and ShaDoWn doesn't have enough to counterattack. He doesn't have enough to break the defenses of NightMare. He's just in a really rough position. Not like this. He's still struggling to clean up these DTs. Eventually he will. But now that massive economic lead he once had is no longer there. He still has 4 bases, to be fair, so he's still making 4 probes at a time. He still has a Dark Shrine of his own, so he can still do some counter damage. But that lead that ShaDoWn had earlier, it's not there anymore. NightMare has clawed his way back into this. DT's moving out, but this time ShaDoWn is ready for them. For most of them. We have a 3rd DT slipping in on the right-hand side, but there is a cannon, and this should be enough to clean this up. Oh, we're still going to focus on some of these probes, though. Oof. 4 more probes. Again, keeping ShaDoWn at home. Back across the map, NightMare is just building up his army. Archons, Charge-Out, Stalkers. Now, Blink here for these DTs, that could be a great move here from ShaDoWn. We'll see if he can get into that, though, because Shadow Stride is still on the way. And again, NightMare already has cannons in position. Like, he scouted the Dark Shrine earlier. He knows. does know. And we're just going to be chilling. I guess. I would assume that maybe NightMare would tech up into something like a Robotic Spay into Disruptors with this. Like, he has a lot of freedom, but alas, he's just amassing a larger ground army. A larger gateway force. And ShaDoWn is setting up for these counterattacks. We have DTs here on the left-hand side, a bit of a Zealot run-by as well. At the same time, here comes NightMare, and I don't think ShaDoWn has enough to really contest against this. He's got a Sentry for Force Fields, but there's not that much energy. Fifth base gets cancelled. DTs are ready to dive on in. Up! Cannon is going to go down. At the same time, NightMare, he forces his way up into the fourth. He doesn't care about your DTs. Does force a recall. He recalled an Observer. I was like, what did he recall? Observer does get recalled. The main army standing strong across the map. Now he doesn't have detection. Uh-oh. When 14 probes go down across the map. The Invincible Man, Papi. They're too good. They're winning the game for both players. It does keep ShaDoWn alive. It does do a lot of counter damage. Suddenly, ShaDoWn now has a worker lead. His army is still lacking. That's the biggest concern here, is that NightMare can still take down the army of ShaDoWn. As long as he has detection, that's the only thing he's missing. And here we go. The Archons are powering on through. Observer has arrived. And ShaDoWn can now clean up all these DTs. And without the DTs, I don't think there's too much here stopping NightMare from breaking on through. It's a good effort here by ShaDoWn. He definitely had his moments in this game. He had his advantages, but yeah, the DTs were just a little bit too strong too quickly in favor of NightMare. They helped him out first. As GG gets called, the third gets broken, and NightMare will take the series 2-0. GG. Oh, there we go. GG, well played. A pretty intense series, all things considered. Game 1, of course, with that all-in. Here in Game 2, a little bit different. We had quite a bit of variety when it comes to the openers as well. I have noticed a couple of Europeans. ShaDoWn is one of them. Harsem is the other that do go for these 2-gate openers. Even on ramp maps, it's pretty bold. But yeah, he was able to get a lead from that moment, get a faster third base. Good stuff overall from ShaDoWn. Unfortunately, was unable to maintain his lead against the mass DT harass. Like, the chaos was just a little bit too much in favor of NightMare, and NightMare will take that first series as he moves on into the next round. Let's go into the next round, where he has an opponent waiting for him. An opponent that I'm a bit of a fan of. There's not too many Polish Zerg players out there. There's a lot of Polish Protosses. You know, you got Geralt, you got Christianer, Papi, Ziomek as well, Mana, Art. There are a lot. There are a lot of Polish Protoss players. That's kind of what a lot of people focus on when they think of the Polish scene. But there are a couple of Zergs out there as well. You know, obviously there's a Laser as the best Zerg in Poland. But you have players like Trifax, who has been rising up. You also have players like Aristry,